All right, so this is a K-Series idle air control valve. The valve inside, I don't know if you can see it down in there and there, it gets carboned up and it'll make these not want to work or stick, causing check engine lights and idle issues. And it's not really serviceable, but there are two screws here. They are not a Torx bit, even though they look like a Torx bit. To get those out, take you a small cutoff wheel and cut a notch in it for a Phillips head screwdriver on each one. Alright, so once you remove the two screws, it might be difficult to get out because they've got a good bit of corrosion on them. And notice these two holes here are slotted, so this motor can clock just a tiny amount. It's a good idea to mark this before you take it apart, just so you know where it goes back together. All right, once you got it marked, you just kind of work this motor off. So there is a magnet in here and a magnet inside the motor. It's also got a tab. I don't know if you can see it. A little slot there and another one there. Pay attention again to orientation. So when you remove the motor, this tab is going to be kind of like that in that orientation there. You don't want to get it, flipped out like that. Just make sure you know where it goes. Now, down in there, I don't know again if you can see, this is almost like a little door. You see there how it opens, closes to let air go through to control the idle. This on the outside there, where you can kind of see the scoring, that gets carbon buildup and dirt buildup and other things, oil, just from years and years of use. And it'll get down in that little valley down there in the bottom. And so when this goes to rotate, it'll stick. So get you a small brush, like a carburetor cleaner brush, and some kind of a cleaner. I use like a mass airflow sensor cleaner, and just kind of get down in there, spray it in there, work this around, a couple times, dry it all off, and then it should rotate freely. There is a seal right here. If it's cracked or anything like that, just find a replacement. I don't think there's a specific replacement because I don't believe Honda ever intended for this to be taken apart. To put that seal back in, don't lose it. And then we're going to put the motor back on it. Now there is a bearing in there. It's difficult to see. So you see that bearing there? And then there's one on this end too, but you can't see it. It's a good idea to put just a little bit of lubricant on there. Any kind of light oil. You obviously don't want to like saturate this area here. Same thing down in there. Just kind of put a little bit in there just so it doesn't get seized up. Alright, so when you go to put it back together, obviously make sure that tab is in the right orientation. And then again, inside here, there's that little notch. And then one on that side, make sure they're in the right orientation. And then line up that tab on there with that notch in there. So before putting the screws back in, I'm going to add a little bit of Loctite on the end of each one. You don't need a lot. It's just help keep them from backing out. Make sure this is lined up. Now, if you have the proper tool for these, I believe it's a very small E-Torx. I did not have one that fit it. You won't have to cut these slots in. it's all back together, clean off your mating surface really well, and then reinstall it and test it. I'm not guaranteeing this is going to work. It might just be easier to buy a new one, but I'm giving it a try. I like to repair things rather than replace them, and oftentimes OEM Honda parts are far better than any aftermarket parts you're going to find.